Oh my god, I love 𝕬𝕚 so much. And the last note that I have here is not me thinking I'll be fine, because I've read this before. Why am I sobbing right now? Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is one of my Danmei Diaries video where I just talk about Danmei that I've been buying, Danmei that I've been reading, either physical releases or web novels that I'm reading, licenses that I'm really excited for, and just Danmei in general. Unfortunately, I still haven't read the book that delayed me making this video, which was 𝕍𝕆𝕚𝕚 volume 2. That came out in June, I want to say. I've honestly even lost track of when it was released because it was delivered so late because of something that Crunchyroll decided to do. And no, I'm not going to shut up about it, but I'm going to try to read it this month in August. But now that I have enough books to actually talk about in this video, I figured that I'll just go ahead and film it. So I have 5 releases since the last Danmei Diaries video I filmed, not including 𝕍𝕆𝕚𝕚 that are here. One of them I've already done an isolated review for. So I have the 5th volume of 𝕬𝕚, The Husky and His White Kashizen, the 3rd volume of Stars of Chaos, and the 1st volume of Ballad of Sword and Wine, which is the one I already did an isolated review for. And I have actually finished reading the entire series. I had a fan translation from last year before this got officially licensed, and I was able to dig it out from somewhere and finish reading this series. I loved it. I feel like a part of me is still trying to process everything that I read, and I do plan to do a reread of the series as it gets officially released, so I can annotate and probably get a better understanding of some of the things that were confusing during my first read. So still a 5-star read and on par with 𝕬𝕚 as one of my all-time favorite Danmei series. So that is Ballad of Sword and Wine. And the other 2 novels I have here are 2 that I read last month. The final volume of 𝕬𝕐𝕐 Autumns. I actually have the special edition here. I'm going to try to show some of the freebies that came with it in this video. I hope I remember to do that. And then the last thing that I just read recently is the 4th volume of Remnants of Filth. I'm trying really hard to smile, but that book made me cry a whole lot. Now for these 2, I'll be able to recall what I read in them pretty easily because they're more recent reads. But for Stars of Chaos and 𝕬𝕚, I probably read these in... crap, I can't even remember when I read them. Let's see if they usually write release dates in any of these books so I can tell when these were released. Because even though I can remember roughly what happened in them, I can't remember well enough to talk or summarize them in a video. So I'm going to have to refer to my notes to talk about them in this video, and that might look like me actually reading directly from my notes during the video. So this was released in April and this was released in May. I'm going to start with 𝕬𝕚. So what happened in this book? We are in the Rufang sect, ℉𝕠𝕟 and what's her name? And Song Shui-dong, who is the girl that Ta Shan-jun was married to in his life as Ta Shan-jun, are getting married, and some members of, I can't remember the name of Moran sect, have been invited to this wedding. And Moran decides that he wants to show Song Shui-dong's true color and comes up with this ridiculous scheme to make it look like she has been cheating on ℉𝕠𝕟, and a bunch of other things happen in this book. Oh my god, so many secrets were just out in the open, all about the Rufang sect and so many things about them. The fact that, spoiler alert, don't say I didn't warn you, Yuangshi is a woman. ℉𝕠𝕟's father, ℉𝕠𝕟 is the one that has been involved with the Zonglong chest formations and everything that has been going on everywhere they've been popping up. And 𝕬𝕠𝕟𝕕's father is actually someone who has beef with ℍ𝕆𝔻𝕝. There was just so much going on in this book. So many dirty secrets about the Rufang sects and so many other sects in the book. It was terrible. And that's about all of it that I can remember. But one thing that I will mention is the fact that I did not like what ℍ𝕝𝕝 did in this book. So his involvement in this wedding ceremony and trying to show ℍ𝕉𝕍𝕐's true colors, I kind of didn't like the fact that he did that in the book, because he is someone who has gotten a second chance at life and is trying to do better with that chance that he has gotten. At the point in the story where he is trying to show ℍ𝕉𝕍𝕐's true colors, she hasn't done anything wrong. So he can't really call her a terrible person. And if you think about who she is, what's the name of that tribe that she's from? I think it's like the butterfly boned tribe or something like that. And she has just basically been sold into slavery her entire life. Is it really so hard to understand why someone like that would want a better life for herself by trying to marry the young master of a really prominent sect? She hasn't really done anything wrong beyond that. I don't know why he couldn't just leave her alone. I personally did not really like his decision to try to make her look or paint her as a bad person. Even the fact that he made it look like she was sleeping with someone else, she really didn't. He just used some information that he had about her from his past life to basically implicate her in whatever scheme that he cooked up in the book. I wasn't a huge fan of that. As much as I like him and Chu Wanin as characters, there are just so many things that they do wrong. And that's the beauty of the book, right? As much as you like these characters, they're not like firmly good or bad characters. A lot of characters in these books are morally gray, but you can still find them relatable, because that's just life. Sometimes we make terrible choices, and making a terrible choice does not make you a bad person, and making a good choice does not make you a good person. We're all humans. There are things that happen in life that lead to us making good or bad choices every now and then. And I like the fact that these books are thought-provoking enough for you to realize some of these things. So that was one thing I did want to mention about the series. And of course, we cannot forget that, again, spoiler alert, the confession was finally in this book. It was amazing. It did make me cry, but I will get to that eventually. What else did I want to say about this book? Let's see. Okay, these are the notes that I had from when I read the book. I feel like at his core, ℍ𝕝𝕝 is someone whose actions have always been driven by love. One part of it was really soft, and you could see that when he was much younger, but then the other part of it was really violent, which is ℍ𝕬𝕬. And the love he felt in either one of those versions of him was what drove him towards his actions for the person that he loved or that he believed that he loved. Even as the violent version of himself as ℍ𝕬𝕬, that was what drove him to become the menace that he was after he lost ℍ𝕬𝕝, because he thought that was the person he loved as ℍ𝕬𝕬. And I also have a note here that I feel so drawn to ℍ𝕝𝕝 and 𝕍𝕠𝕟 as characters, and not necessarily because I identify with every aspect of who they are fundamentally, but it's that struggle of being misunderstood and not feeling accepted. The way they both describe themselves as dirt in front of this pure, beautiful, and untainted people that they are both in love with, and the fact that they see themselves that way is something that really does make me cry. That's what I've written here, because in both books, Remnants of Filth and 𝕬𝕠𝕟, 𝕍𝕠𝕟 and ℍ𝕝𝕝 describe themselves as dirt in comparison to the people they're in love with. ℍ𝕝𝕝 and Chu Wanin are like the pure people that they're in love with. There is so much more that can be said about the way that they view themselves, the way that they were raised, the fact that 𝕍𝕠𝕟 was a slave and ℍ𝕝𝕝 was an orphan, and there's just a lot of backstory to him that will be revealed later in the future that will help you to understand why he sees himself that way. Similarly for 𝕍𝕠𝕟, and that is just I don't know how to explain it. The way they see themselves, it just makes me so sad. I don't know. And then I just have it here that these two books, Remnants of Filth and 𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬, thinking about either one of them just automatically activates the waterworks in me. They both make me want to cry whenever I think of either one of them. And then finally, the confession. It was beautiful. This was probably like my 7th time reading it, but it was still so good. And it is technically a happy scene, but reading it made me so sad because of what's going to come in the future and how 𝕤𝕬𝕬𝕬 and 𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬 reacted to realizing the other person's feelings for them. So on one end, you have 𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬 realizing that this person that he loves him, and he's just happy, ecstatic, all the positive feelings that you can think of. Similarly for 𝕤𝕬𝕬𝕬, but at the same time, his realization that 𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬 loves him also comes with the fact that he knows that he used to be Tasha and June, and the fact that if that ever came to light, he felt like he was going to lose that love. And oh my god, I have so many things to say, but at the same time, I can't even find the words to describe how much this book makes me feel. Oh my god, I love 𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬 so much. And the last note that I have here is not me thinking I'll be fine, because I've read this before. Why am I sobbing right now? I'm still deeply in love with this story and all its flawed characters. Like I mentioned earlier, it's actually crazy how I'm still able to enjoy the story and feel all the emotions reading it evokes, despite this being a reread. And the exhilarating feeling of knowing your feelings are reciprocated, interwoven with the crushing realization of who he was and what he did. I'm talking about 𝕤𝕬𝕬𝕬 here. It just paints a picture of impending doom. So even though I was looking forward to the official translation of this volume and the confession, I still ended up crying myself to sleep after reading it. And then I just have laughing my ass off. What the fuck? And that was the end of the notes that I wrote about 𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬. As usual, I knew this was what I was going to talk about the most in this video, and I'm going to shut up about it now. But that was obviously a 5-star read. I absolutely enjoyed this, and I'm going to move on to the 3rd volume of Stars of Chaos now. Let me pull up my notes about this book. I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot going on in this volume of Stars of Chaos. Oh my god. I'm probably going to have to flip through my annotations before I read the next volume, because I was confused for the last 25%, maybe even the last 30%. Where the hell is this book? Sorry, I'm trying to look for my notes. Stars of Chaos volume 3, right there. Okay. Let's see my notes. Yeah, first thing I have written here, not gonna lie, there was way too much going on in this book. There really was way too much going on in this book. That's a personal opinion, and that was partly due to the fact that I was reading 4 books at the time. But again, I still got a very generic and basic understanding of the plot, and enough to at least be able to carry over what I was able to take away from this book over to the 4th volume of the series. But I'll still like to do like a quick skim of my annotations or maybe my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything before I move to the 4th volume. It was incredibly fast-paced. That hasn't changed since the 2nd book. There was a lot of war going on. So the war started about 25% into the end of the 2nd volume, and then it continues on for the most part of book 3. They never really got a chance to celebrate their victory before they had to prepare for the next round of fighting in the 3rd series. So it was just like go, 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 go. There was no time to breathe in the book, and as a reader, there was just so much going on. And I have another note here. Seeing the effects of war, it's just really cruel. Everything happens so fast. You don't have time to process all the loss around you. There was a really young boy that died in the book. just like a very minor, you can even call him a side character, very, very minor character, but his death was painted in such brutal detail that that was really hard to take in. I feel like scenes like that help you see how cruel war can be. I found it so funny that 𝕬𝕠🟫 didn't know how to face Changong once he realized the seriousness of his feelings. It kind of feels like a role reversal. And I'm saying it feels like a role reversal because he's usually like the more confident, playful one in their relationship, and Changong is just like the stoic, quiet person. But in this book, it almost felt like their roles had been reserved. It's not that he was shy in front of him, but he really didn't know how to react to the fact that Changong had actual romantic feelings for him, and that made him a little bit reserved in front of Changong for a portion of the book, and that was just very funny to see. And okay, Changong played an instrumental role in the battle against blah 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 blah. Changong is a scary character. We're going to get to that. I find Shunyi and 𝕬𝕠🟫's relationship hilarious. I love their dynamic. Outside of Changong and 𝕬𝕠🟫, I also love 𝕬𝕠🟫's relationship with Shunyi. They are so funny together. I love the both of them. The secret of the 𝕬𝕟𝕚 that cost Changong in the first book was revealed in the third book. That is another truly horrific portion of this book, and I cannot remember all the details of it, but I don't even want to say it because it is a major spoiler. Oh my god, it is terrible. There is no known cure for the curse, so this might be something he will have to be afflicted with for the rest of his life. I guess that's one of the things that you're just going to have to figure out how the book decides to resolve throughout the series. Looks like 𝕬𝕠🟫 is fully on board with the romantic plot of the series. Nothing can stop him now, and the man is about to fully be in his menace era. All their secrets are out in the open. Everything you need to know about 𝕬𝕠𝕠's illness and Changong's course, and both parties now mostly know each other. They're still kind of hiding things from each other, especially Changong. When I mentioned earlier that he is scary, you do not want to cross this boy. There were things he did in this book, and I was just like, what? And what is even more scary about him is that only the people that are close to him and he wants to see that he's doing these things have an idea that he's doing these things. To the rest of the world and everyone else who sees him, he's just this very cool, calm, and collected, kind prince. But inside, he's a demon. That's what it feels like. He is so scary. You do not want to be his enemy. Oh my god. I really enjoyed it, but there was a lot going on, and I'm still really excited to keep reading this one. I think I rated it 4.5 stars. Yeah, looking forward to the rest of the series. Now for the other two that I read recently, 𝕬𝕐𝕗 Autumns. This was my least favorite volume in the entire series. If you've heard me talking about 𝕬𝕗 Autumns, you probably know why. That was mostly because this book really started to dig into the romantic plot of the series that I'm not really a fan of. And I say that, but it's not just the fact that Yan Wuxi and Shen Chao end up together. It's not like a Yan Wuxi thing and me not liking Yan Wuxi, because I actually do like him as a character. He is an interesting character. I actually find his character very interesting. I just don't ship Shen Chao with anyone in this book. I feel like the book would have been just fine without a romantic plot, which I have said multiple times. So this is not just a matter of me not shipping the both of them. It's the fact that I think the book didn't need a romantic plot, but then without a romantic plot, it wouldn't be a Danmei series. So I guess that kind of defeats the purpose. But yeah, for that reason, this was one of my least favorite books in the series. I'm even trying to remember what happened in the book. How did the fourth book end again? Okay, in the fourth book, they had dressed up as women to try to infiltrate the palace. Okay, that's what happened at the end of the fourth book. And they did do that. They got into the palace. And okay, I'm starting to remember what happened in this book. But you really don't care about any of that stuff. Yeah, I enjoyed the book, but it was my least favorite one in the series. Read it for yourself to find out what happened. I wasn't a huge fan of the side stories as well. They were good, but again, more focused on the romantic plot of the series, which I'm not a fan of. I think I rated this book 4 stars. That's the lowest I've rated any of the books in 𝕬𝕒𝕚𝕒. But overall, I still really enjoyed this series. I just got the first volume of 𝕬𝕗𝕬𝕝 the other day. I don't know if I already mentioned that in this video, but I'm going to try to read it this weekend, and I am really looking forward to that. Even though I haven't read that one yet, just flipping through the illustrations, the main characters already have much better chemistry than 𝕬𝕬𝕝 and 𝕬𝕬𝕝. I hope I'm not reading too much into that, or maybe that's just what I want it to be, but yeah, I can't wait to read that one. And I've mentioned before that this series has had one of my favorite illustrations in all of 7C's releases. And so for that reason, I was really excited for the special edition for this final volume, which I'm going to try to show. So that is the cover. And the same artist that did the illustration for this series is going to be doing 𝕬𝕗𝕬𝕝 as well. Same author as 𝕬𝕬𝕝. And now I will try to show the freebies that came with the volume. So firstly, you have this sticker, and if the camera isn't picking this up really well, I'll do an overlay. You have these stickers, super cute. I think I was able to identify only like the 2 rows. So the first 2 people here, that's meant to be 𝕬𝕬𝕝 and 𝕬𝕬𝕝. And this girl is, what's her name? The girl from the demonic sect that's obsessed with 𝕬𝕬𝕝. I can't remember her name right now. I think these are like younger versions of 𝕬𝕬𝕝 and 𝕬𝕬𝕝. And then these 2, 𝕬𝕬𝕝 and I can't remember the name of the other guy, who are disciples of 𝕬𝕬𝕝, I think. The people on the bottom, I have no idea who those are meant to be, but yeah. Then you have postcards of all the covers of volumes 1 through 5 and really cute illustrations on the back of them. I'm just going to swipe through all of them right here. So that's the next one. And then this one. This one. I hope I'm actually showing this correctly. And then this one. And then on the back, you have these cute illustrations. I think that's the last one. And then you have 2 posters. I believe different artists actually did this one. 𝕬𝕬𝕝 looking like a silver daddy right here. He's so attractive, but I don't like him for 𝕬𝕬𝕝. And I just bit my tongue. I stand by that. This one. This is actually really beautiful, but again, I am a hater of this couple, so yeah. I'm just gonna pretend I don't see that. Those are the freebies that came with the 5th volume, and then the final book I have here is Remnants of Filth. Wow. I used this a lot when I was reading this book. I was actually prepared. Ever since I read the last book, I was just prepared to cry for this book. What I'm going to say about this book is you get everything you were curious about regarding 𝕬𝕝𝕝's defection to the Liao kingdom. This book reveals to you, or at least most of it, enough to answer any questions you had about why he would have done that. And you're not the only one finding this out as readers. 𝕤𝕝 is now aware of this information as well. So 𝕤𝕝 and the readers know what happened. And I wouldn't necessarily say it was what I was expecting from reading the first volume of the series, but at some point in this book, I started to suspect that might be the case. But even when it was reviewed, I was still like, wow. The fact that he decided to do this, you know what, I'm gonna stop talking before I start to drop spoilers and hints as to what will be reviewed in the book in this video. I'm just gonna shut up. But oh my god, even knowing why he did it doesn't make this book any easier to read. If anything, it makes it so much more sadder. And yeah, we know all of that stuff, but there are still some things that I'm questioning in the book. Not things that have to do with 𝕽𝕠𝕟's defection, but there are some characters and some plot points that have happened that I'm wondering, like, okay, these things have been mentioned enough that they couldn't have just been mentioned randomly. They have to have a reason or a larger part that they play in the entire story. And one of those characters is 𝕤𝕠𝕔. He was like the national teacher. I can't remember if this was mentioned in this book or the last book, but 𝕤𝕠𝕔 is the national teacher who taught the first slave who was allowed to practice cultivation or something like that. And this slave was the one who ended up creating the 𝕬𝕉 kingdom. But this teacher has been brought up in other situations that make it seem like he has a much more important role in the story. And the fact that even though he's supposed to be dead, 𝕽𝕠𝕟 can remember seeing him somewhere. Where could that be? I don't know. There's something about him that doesn't just feel right. So he's one of the people that I'm questioning what role he has to play in the entire series. As for plot points that I'm questioning, I don't know how to bring them up without giving spoilers again for the book, but I really, really, really enjoyed this book as much as it made me cry. The only thing that makes me feel better about how this book or the series is proceeding is the fact that I know this is going to be a happy ending. So regardless of how much pain the book will put you through now and in the future, it's going to be worth it in the end, or at least that's what I'm trying to tell myself. Because even though this is pretty sad to read and it hurts you to read it, there's still that element of curiosity that keeps you reading, which is always the case for all of 𝕳𝕝 series that I've read. It was the case for Remnants of Filth, similarly for 𝕬𝕉, because I'm not someone who likes to read miscommunication tropes in my books. I find them to be extremely annoying, but a huge portion of 𝕬𝕉 is built on the misunderstanding between 𝕤𝕝 and Troye. So why did I keep reading it? Because it was just that good, that's why. And that is how she always gets you. But yes, this was another 5-star read and I'm looking forward to the rest of the series. So that is everything that I've read, releases from 7 Seas. What am I reading right now? Online, I am reading Married Thrice to Salted Fish. You can see me smiling because I am having so much fun with this series. It is so good. Before I started reading this, I was reading I'd tried reading Danmei Diaries and it got licensed, and so I just dropped it. I don't have access to that right now, or maybe I still do. I haven't really checked. I hadn't gotten really far in it, and once it got licensed, I just dropped it. I'm going to see if I can find another translation that I can read of it, because that author is someone that's been recommended to me for a very, very long time, and I just drag my feet with reading anything by them until 𝕤𝕠𕕔𝕚𝕝 Records got licensed, and now I probably can read it, but we'll see about that. But yes, Married Thrice to Salted Fish. I am having so much fun with this series. Your two main characters are less hero type characters and more like villainous kind characters. Imagine the villain being the main character in a story, but they're still the main characters and you love them for the villains that they are. That is Married Thrice to Salted Fish. It is so good. It had such a strong start. Like right from the first couple of chapters, you have your main character. He already has a very strong personality, married off into this marriage that he did not want for very stupid reasons, even though he had things he wanted to do with his life that he could no longer achieve because he was married off to this family. And if I had to rename the first portion of the story based on what happened, I will call it How Me and My Family Ended Up as Cannon Fodder Because We Offended the Wrong Person. That's what it felt like, that first arc of the book, and that can apply to almost any member of the family that he married into. Oh my god, it is so good. I highly recommend it. I'm reading it on Chrysanthemum Garden, and the translation is really, 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 really good as well. Comments are awesome. I love reading comments when I'm reading stuff like this, like web novels, and just seeing how other people are having fun with what they're reading as well. But that has been an amazing experience, and that is what I'm reading right now. I have lots of novels I'm trying to read next, but I'll just pick one of them and go ahead with it. I'm over halfway done with Married Thrice to Salted Fish. I'm going to try to finish it this weekend as well as Peerless. God, I cannot speak today. So those are the two things that I'm trying to read right now. As for recent licenses, I already talked about the ones by Fashion. So 𝕤𝕠𝕟𝕚𝕚 Records, Legend of Exorcism, I think got licensed as well. There is a release in August that I am not picking up, and that is, well, not that I'm not picking it up, I'm not sure if I want to pick it up yet because of some things I've heard about it. I have yet to do my own research, which is why I haven't decided if I'm picking it up or not. And that is 𝕬𝕝, The Perils of Pigeon Puss. Now this looks like a very interesting series, and I've heard that it's very smutty, which is not the standard for Danmei. I don't think I've read any like super smutty Danmei series, which was why I was really curious about this one. But then I've seen things said about the author and how they're like homophobic or something like that, and just really terrible things that don't paint them in the very best light, that make you not want to pick up the series. And again, I want to do my own research and look into these allegations about this author before I decide if I want to pick it up or not. So I haven't pre-ordered this series, so I'm not going to be reading it just yet. I haven't really had a chance to look into any of this allegation, so yeah, that's just going to have to be delayed for much later, but I won't be reading that. Another one that I'm really looking forward to next year is 𝕬𝕝𝕚𝕚. That is a series that was actually on my TBR, and I think I have an EPUB of that somewhere. I've lost track of some of the things that I've just downloaded here and there over the course of the past couple of years, but yeah, I might be able to read it if I do have an EPUB of it somewhere. I might be able to read it before the official translation comes out, or maybe I'll just go ahead and wait for the official translation and read that when it comes out. But that was pretty much all of the Danmei that I wanted to talk about in this video. As usual, I ended up talking about much more than I was expecting to, but what have you guys been reading? Have you read any of the 7 Siege releases that have been coming out? Are you enjoying them? What web novels are you reading online? Are there any that you recommend or that you're really enjoying? What new licenses are you really looking forward to? They don't have to be just 7 Siege licenses. It could be from other publishers. Just talk about Danmei, what are you enjoying in the comments, and I hope you're all having a lovely week. I cannot speak today, but whatever day you find yourself watching this, make it a great one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.